sound like a bitter baby mama, but to sound like a bitter baby.
See, one thing you don't gotta worry about me is dating somebody baby daddy. No, thank you. I want no parts. I don't want the smoke. I don't want no drama. Instantly, when I see a baby daddy, he's contaminated to me. Am I the only one that stands on sister code? I believe in loyalty, and I don't even gotta know you, sus. But I don't want no parts. I believe in two family household when you're bringing kids up in this. Let's keep the black families alive. I will send him back home to his family instantly. I think child-free women should date child-free men. Because at the end of the day, if you date somebody baby daddy, he's just gonna trap you next.
Hello ladies, you saw the title of the video, so if you are not a child-free woman, you will not find this video useful, but you are free to watch if you so choose. Now I want to talk to my young child-free women. If you haven't noticed, there is something happening in our society that is weird on both sides. I mean, you have a group of women who say, I'm not going to have kids. I don't want to have kids. Kind of boast about it, kind of brag about the free time that we have, which is true. How we have access to all of our resources, which is true. And they kind of, I don't know why this needs to be an announcement, that you don't want kids. I don't understand that. That's kind of between you and your husband and God. Why you don't want kids. It's a very private thing. It's no one's business. It's your womb. It's your life. It's your resources. It's your time. And me and my sister were talking about this because my sister has 2 kids and my brother also has 2 kids. But, I love her kids so much. And you all know I love kids because I was an educator. I worked with kids for many, many years. I've always been active in the lives of children. And as far as me and my husband, that's our business. If we so choose to have kids, if we choose to do it in another route, if we choose not to do it at all, that's nobody's business. And I will never discuss that publicly because that is between me and my husband and God, what we decide to do in our marriage for the glory of God. That is none of your business. And so first thing I want to say is you don't want to get weird like this. I mean, I don't think you really want to join these movements, especially those child-free women that do want children. So this video really is for the woman who wants children or is open to having children, but you want children in wedlock with your husband. And so I think when we look around society and we see some of the situations that people have found themselves in by having children with a man who has not committed and dedicated his life to them, how problematic that can become. And there are many, many things that I witnessed when I was in the education system. There are many things I've witnessed with people around me, associates, from having children by a man who is not their husband. And let me tell you, it is mostly negative. I will do a separate private video about some of the reasons why I think child-free women really should stay away from men who have children already, especially if those children were conceived and he did not marry that mother. That is very problematic for a certain group of us because we live by a standard. And people will get mad at you if you have standards and boundaries and expectations. And you can't let that affect you. So I'll do that. I'll talk about that in a separate video because me and hubby were watching Walking Dead, and it was an interesting episode about how when you have these blended families and your kid is in Chicago or on the other side of town and you've moved on to another relationship with another woman and she has kids, what happens when there's a crisis? I often wonder what happened during COVID when people had children that were in different households. People had children who were in different states. How were they able to see their children when essentially, they're in 2 different families right now? And I think that people will tell you, oh, divorce happens. You you can't just wait around. Oh, what if he's a great guy? It's like, no, you have a right to say, as far as children are concerned, when you want to do that, if you want to do that, and if God has set that as the path of your legacy. Because see, God is in control of everything. And if God wants you to have children, believe me, you will have children. And if he doesn't want you to have children, you won't have children. You know, a lot of people who talk about family and parenting, they're very ignorant, and they are very biased sometimes in their view, because you do have the other side of the table where women will tell you, like, that's your only purpose in life. Like, if something were to happen, God forbid, that prevented you from having children, you know, a lot of times women will tell single women, no man will want you, you're gonna die alone. You're selfish. Having children is every woman's purpose. You're going to regret not having kids. Your husband will leave you. You're not a real woman. Thank God you don't have kids. What about a legacy? It's like, you know, they will become very hostile towards you because people deflect. They deflect their life on you. And so that's why you'll have women who will try to say little things like, if they see you're a certain age, or that you're happily married and you don't have kids and you're kind of living life, they'll be like, oh, she must can't have kids. You know, they must can't have kids, you know. And it's like, it's hilarious to me, but you know, I don't pay attention to any of it because I do what I want. But I think it's important for child-free women to have boundaries and standards, those that do. So if this doesn't relate to you, you don't mind having a child out of wedlock with a man who is not going to commit to you, dedicate to you, provide for you, then this video is not for you. You could just keep your comment and keep it moving. But for those of you who are child-free and you want children, you may not know when, you may not be sure about it now. I believe children are a blessing. I believe children who are raised in productive two-parent homes with parents who love each other, who are married, they thrive better. I've seen that with my own personal experience from working with children my whole entire life. The statistics reveal it, the data reveals it. No one can refute it. They can try to refute it, but it can't be refuted. And I'm coming from a more personal, real-life experience of seeing how children thrive when they are in a home with their parents. I think even divorced parents thrive better than just having a baby willy-nilly with a man and he did not commit to you first. Because a lot of the attachment that a man has to his children has to do with how he feels about you. And that's why you want to be very clear about how a man feels about you, if he truly loves you, if he's dedicated to you, if he understands marriage, if he has that spiritual component to be loyal, faithful, and stick it out with you no matter what happens. Because, you know, when I think of my father and how attached he is to me, that is directly correlated to how much he loves my mother. And so I'm not saying that people who don't love the mothers, or people who don't love the fathers of their children, you know, don't love their children, but there's just a different dynamic that happens when you are raised in a two-parent home with loving parents that love you and that pour everything into you. So I really wanted to tell you, don't allow people to shame you about being a child-free woman, whether you're 25 or 30, and you have not gotten married. Because in reality, if you are a woman like me, we would have never had children without marrying first, because that's what we do. That is how we were raised. That's how we look at life. We want our children to be in a home with their father who loves them and who loves us, if we so choose to go down that road. And if you choose not to go down that road for whatever reason, financial reason, mental reason, you know, health reason, whatever is going on in your home, like I said, I want to be very clear. That is between you and your husband and God. That is no one's business. And so you should never feel pressured to do anything that is going to harm your relationship or what God has told you to do, because, you know, God hasn't told everyone to do the same thing in life. Everyone doesn't have the same purpose. Everyone will not get married. Everyone will not start a family. Everyone will not want the same thing. Everyone doesn't have access to the same thing. You know, we all have unique paths, but we can share the same values, morals, and principles. And so I want to encourage child-free women that do want to be married and that do want to be mothers and that do see themselves in a family dynamic, not to feel pressured to have children with men who are not committed to you. That is a foolish decision. It is not a smart decision. It makes no sense to me. I would be very uncomfortable with having a child with a man who was not committed to me. And so don't let people shame you. I will come back with another video. It'll be a private video. It'll probably be in my community subscriptions on specific reasons that I see why you may not want to pair with a man who has children. That is your right to say, you're a nice guy, but you know, I'm really not interested in being anyone's mom when I'm not a mom myself. Now, people with children, I think they are great for each other. I think people with children should get with people with children because they understand each other's lifestyle, they understand the sacrifice of parenthood, and they understand what it takes to, you know, be a parent. You should not have to do that as a child-free woman. You should be able to experience that with your husband for the first time if that is what you desire. Don't let anyone take that desire from you, and don't feel pressured or desperate to get married and have kids and let that lead you to a system of, you know, dysfunction and drama and chaos. You should be free to start your family fresh. And there may be circumstances where someone was divorced. You might want to add a caveat for that. Like if the man that has children did marry the mother of his children and you think he's a good guy, you know, some of you may say, okay, I'm going to date that guy. Some of you may say, no, that's not for me. That's baggage. It's baggage. And I don't want to drag that baggage out with me. I'm young. I'm, you know, unattached. I don't have kids. I don't want to deal with someone who has kids. And I want to tell you that that is your right. But I don't think you should take any extremes. If you are a child-free woman and you're leaning more towards not having kids, that's no one's business. You know, it's not some badge of honor. I just, to me, that's a little weird. And to me, it might be saying that there's something else brewing underneath the surface when women have to validate their choices with their bodies. You know, that's between you and God. Why we honor our bodies, that is between us and God. And it's not really a thing to like boast about or share with other people. And then you have your extremely weird moms that, you know, either they're stressed, they're upset, they kind of maybe want you to be in their situation where they're kind of boggled down and they have to make big sacrifices, and they won't tell you this, but, you know, everyone in my family has kids. I've been around kids my whole life, so I get the deal. You know, my sister has laid out the deal. I've seen her sacrifice, and I've also seen the joy that her children brings her because they bring me joy. I mean, I love my nephews like they're my own. I don't think there's anything I wouldn't do for my nephews because I love them so much. They always have a place with me if they need to. So I just don't think that we should be on any far extreme. Children, family planning is a personal decision, and you have a right to say, I do not want a man that has children, period. That is your right. I will come with another video on this topic because I do want to take it from another angle and dig a little bit deeper as a child-free woman. I know that it can be hard to find people that you relate to, so I did want to share that because I relate to everyone, because I understand the beauty of families, the beauty of children, but I also understand that as a child-free woman, there are certain things about life that could be perceived as better to people because we don't have that responsibility. But I think that your path is your path, and it's not anyone else's path. And you have to be okay with your decision to say, I'm going to do family planning according to how God wants it done. And I am also not going to put myself in a position where I have to be someone's instant mom. I want my own kids, and I want my husband to only have kids with me. That is okay.